Good morning, gang. Happy Monday morning here from a soon to be very frigid eastern half of the United States and the week going into Christmas. So, hopefully, you guys have a little bit of time off going into the holidays here or around the holidays or whatever. In case you're looking for something to do, it might have just been handed to you on a silver platter. Late last week, a report came out. Okay, I'll call it the Ziggler report just for a name. All right, that we've all been waiting for years. Okay, and you can now read it yourself. In other words, the content of Hunter Biden's laptop. And I will link it below for you guys so you can read all the emails, all the chat messages, listen to the audio, watch the videos. Yes, they are censored, so you don't have to look at Hunter's boy parts. Okay. But it was very interesting. I spent a few hours reading some of it. And I mean, mind you, there's like 128,000 emails. So no, I didn't bother reading every one of them. But Peter Navarro did. Now, if you guys probably know who Peter Navarro is, so I don't have to tell you. I mean, you'll see him making the rounds on, especially Fox. He's on there quite a bit. But yeah, Peter Navarro is definitely somebody that is well known in Washington. Okay, he was former Trump advisor, et cetera, et cetera. So Peter Navarro went through here and found 459 illegal acts committed by, acknowledged by Hunter in this dossier, I guess I'll call it, including 7 felonies committed by none other than Joe Biden. Okay. Again, like I said, I'm going to link this down. If it's cold and you want to watch it, read it, look through it, want to be utterly disgusted with it, go for it. But basically what this shows is how controlled the U.S. government is by China. And all the paybacks, the payoffs, the kickbacks, the payola, the tit for tat, you name it, okay, that the Biden administration has been in. Yes, there's even in print the 10% to the big guy. Doesn't mention Joe by name, but you can read all of it where everybody in there knows exactly who it is. Gee, and 10% is being held by Hunter for his father. That might be, I don't know, evidence. Okay, so go through and read this. Now, come January, the GOP takes control of the House, okay? And they've already said they're going after this. Now, mind you, the FBI has had all this information since 2019, okay? So 3 years. And has done basically nothing with it other than try to cover it up. And we know how corrupt the FBI is. I mean, they're more concerned about labeling people who go to school board meetings as terrorists than worrying about crimes that are actually being committed at all levels in the United States, including in the White House. All right. But so the FBI's had this for 3 years. And finally, it's now come out. Now, remember how this all happened. Okay. Hunter took his laptop to a laptop repair shop and then forgot to pick it up. And by Delaware state law, after 90 days, that means the laptop repair shop owner owns the laptop, okay? Forfeited goods. And of course, after the court battle with everybody, saying, oh, they can't, they own the laptop and not the information controlled, and the court said, sorry, they own everything on the laptop, and that's how this all got out, okay? But so we get to the GOP-controlled House here next month. And the GOP is going, hopefully, I mean, they've said they will, but you know how that works. I mean, then they tuck tail and run. Because, hey, we elect the best and brightest in this country, don't we? Both parties. They said they're going to go after and investigate Hunter, which will eventually lead to an investigation of Joe. How long that takes, who knows? All right. But, this is basically everything they went after Trump with the Mueller investigation, $15 million later, okay, and found nothing. Here, all the evidence is already there on Joe, okay? So, this investigation shouldn't be difficult for the GOP to handle, which is good because God knows they don't know how to do any work. So what does that lead us to? Well, if the House decides to impeach Joe, chances are, I won't say certainly not, it won't go anywhere because with the Senate being 51-49, they'd have to get every Republican, good luck with Susan Collins and Mitt Romney and all the rhinos, okay, and then 11 Democrats. Now, you could have a bunch of Democrats that go, holy shit, I don't want to hitch my wagon to this loser, and say, yeah, we got to get rid of him. Okay, that's one thing that could possibly happen. The downside to that is then we get the cackling hen in the White House, okay? And, she's already proved her utter, complete incompetence. VP is over her head. I cannot imagine her sitting in the Oval Office. So what's the other option? Okay, well, they could pull the 25th Amendment on Joe. If you saw what Joe did yesterday at a speech in Delaware in front of a bunch of veterans, was talking about his Uncle Frank. And when Joe became vice president, his dad came up to him. Mind you, Joe became vice president when Barack Obama was elected, 2008. Okay. Joe said, my dad came up to me and said, Uncle Frank earned the Purple Heart in the Battle of the Bulge, and he was never given it, and it would be really great if you could give him the Purple Heart and everything. So Joe says then he went to a family gathering, and he had a Purple Heart, and he wanted to present it to his Uncle Frank, and Uncle Frank said, I don't want it. There's people that died over there, and yada, yada, yada. Okay. Except for a little problem. Joe's dad died in 2002. Uncle Frank died in 1999. Remember, Joe became Veep in 2008. So unless Joe has managed time travel, okay, this never happened. So just add it to another long litany of lies coming out of the White House, coming out of Joe's mouth. I swear to God, his handlers need to tell him if it is not written on a script, do not say anything, okay? This is how incompetent he is. So, does Congress try to invoke the 25th Amendment, say he is mentally incapable of doing the job? Again, both houses of Congress. Do you have 11 Democrats in the Senate and all the Republicans again say, yes, we need to invoke? That's the option number 2. Option number 3 is Jill finally says, Joe, it's time to retire, which that might be in the works. We don't know. Okay. I'm just saying. But, Jill is too much of a money-hungry, greedy little bitch that she likes being waited on hand and foot. Call me doctor because I'm important. You ain't shit, lady, but that's beside the point. And then option number 4, which is the scariest one of all, is Joe continues in office for the next 2 years and runs for re-election in 2024, and the selection committee puts him in for another 4 years. Then he'd be, 106 by the time, his term's up or something like that. But the most interesting part is, in reading all the stuff with my own eyes, okay, all the things that we were told, the 10% for the big guy, the heroin use, the crack use, the cocaine use, the orgies, all this sort of stuff, is all true. It's all right there in Hunter's emails. Now, if you all saw that movie a couple of months ago, I forget what it was called, I watched it, the Hunter Biden story or whatever that Breitbart did. Yes, that was a little bit of elaborating on some of these things, but the underlying premise of that movie was spot on correct. This is what we've got. We've got one of the most, if not the most, corrupt people ever to occupy the White House. And certainly the biggest dirtbag of a first son, I guess, if you will, advising said corrupt president. The problem we have is the successor is a whole lot worse because, well, she may not be involved in all of this. She's too stupid to not be manipulated like crazy, and we'd just be in worse shape. Best and brightest. When is it that we the people are going to start putting people in Washington who have our interests at heart and not their own? Hunter's making hundreds of millions of dollars. Biden is pocketing hundreds of millions of dollars based on corruption. Who's going to hold his feet to the fire? Somebody has to, but the whole political spectrum in Washington, left, right, and independent, is completely corrupt. We, the people, need to throw them all out. That's why I know it's teeny tiny little chance of happening, the Brunson case. I hope to God that wins somehow. I would love to see 300 and some odd congressmen, Biden, Kamala Harris, and everybody thrown out of office by one court order. I would love to see it happen. It might be the only chance we have to get our country back. Pinball out.